Jesus explains the ring wall, analogy of the Christian churches. The Lord says, if you were to investigate our ring wall a little closer, you would see that there are not one, but multiple tracks beginning at the edge of the area within, spiraling inwards alongside each other, towards the closed-off tent. If you were to look even closer, you will also discover that all these tracks are laid out in such a way that upon none of them one may reach the entrance to the tent. Yet it is said at the entrance to this salient terrain, whoever may find the most narrow path and proceed upon it, not deviating from it on side roads, he will arrive safely at the tent without fail, where a great reward awaits him. What is the meaning of this strange course of a spiral track? I will give no definitive answer. You will find out as soon as you have taken a closer look at it. Therefore, pay detailed attention to this truly foolish, but in its foolishness, meaningful playground. Behold, wherever such a track begins, coiling towards the center, a track leader is stationed, as well as a track director and the great multitude of assistants. See how they all sport especially serious and solemn faces. On the broad wall you see a great multitude of people of both sexes. Look how, at the beginning of a track, those of common interest praise and promote their track leader to be the only correct one, saying, "Everyone, come here. This track is the only correct way by which you will find the entrance to the tent, whereby you may enter it and discover an invaluable treasure awaiting you." But look, another track leader calls out, saying to the guests, "Do not allow yourselves to be deceived. We charge you much less of a travel fee, for our track is the oldest, and therefore a formally acknowledged one. Upon it, many thousands have already arrived at the tent and received their great reward." The initial track leader shoots up right away, protesting vehemently and urgently warning the guests to not follow the deceptive lures of the second track leader. The second track leader, incensed, opposes such blasphemous speech and calls out with a mighty voice, "I am not saying you must come here. I will not leave it to your free will whether or not you wish to travel on my track, because I know very well that my track is the oldest and the solely correct one, and so I will drag you there by your hair. It is lamentable enough that one would need to force such unspeakable bliss upon fools like you." Again, the first track leader shoots up and calls out mightily, "Indeed then, follow my neighbor, but what you fail to realize is that his track leads to a hidden abyss near the tent, wherein all who travel upon this track would irrevocably fall into perdition." At this declaration, the second track leader is even more incensed. He sends his assistants up the wall without a word, having them forcefully herd together a multitude to travel down his track. When they offer to pay the travel fee, he magnanimously boasts, "I will not take anything from you. All I want is to ensure your happiness. Therefore, travel my track. You may run or casually walk, as you please, and I guarantee that you will find no baneful abyss along my track, for you will all reach the tent, safe and sound. My only condition is that you will not leave my track. If you would leave by mistake or of your own volition, I will not be held accountable for your decisions, for on any other track you will, instead of reaching the tent, end up in one or the other hidden abyss." And so we see the multitude proceed. But look, there is yet another track leader standing close by. He creates no uproar, with an amiable and compassionate look on his face. The guests ask him why he is pulling such a face, and what the matter might be. He answers with meek and soft words. Who would not be sad? These poor people are all going the wrong way, while this one right here is the only correct way. leading straight to the entrance of the tent. I am not telling you to come here, but when you have experienced everywhere that you have achieved nothing with your senseless and vain efforts, you would find yourselves on my track automatically. I tell you, I do not even condone for anyone to walk on my track, which would give rise to jealousy in the scheming track leaders nearby. When he is entirely convinced that he has been deceived, he will come to me without hesitation and willingly pay a high track fee if I would only open my track for him. Behold, a fourth track leader, slyly looking back at his neighbor, shakes his head and finally says, "Be my guest. He who laughs last laughs the longest. I tell you, my assistants, leave all these guests. Let the fools do what they want. We do not invite anyone. Scale the wall to the outside, catch them there and bring them here. As soon as the fools are brought here from the outside, we will be well assured that they will not seek any other track and will step on none other than ours. We shall set up a banner stating, 'The only correct track to your destination. Make no fuss about it, and the fat fish shall be ours.' Yet look further. There is yet another, very narrow track, seemingly in poor condition. The track leader sits at the entrance, concerning himself with no one. His few assistants are following his example. See how many guests go over to this track leader, furtively asking him, 'How is it with your track?' He says nothing but these words, 'My track testifies of itself. Whosoever wishes to walk thereupon will convince himself whether or not it will lead him to his destination.' These enigmatic and secretive words confound many, and many of the guests begin to follow him. They ask him for the price, and he says, 'There is no price, but whosoever wishes to walk this track must give everything he has, for he will have it all back. I myself, though, have need of nothing.' This condition causes the interested guests to hesitate, and one after another they return to the wall. But look, alongside this one there is yet another track. In charge of it is a grumpy old track leader. He erected a veritable box office in front of the track. He invites no one, but if someone were to come over and ask him, 'What kind of track is this, and does it lead to the entrance of the tent?' then the track leader speaks softly and secretively, 'Friend, there never has been a track like this one. Only this one is the oldest and is connected to the entrance of the tent. If you would like to travel it, you will not be sorry. Only you must pay the travel fee, this much, in fine, jingling coin. You shall receive a bill of equal value. If you follow the track properly and will not allow yourself to be deceived, you will without a doubt enter the tent, and with that, hit the jackpot. However, should you get lost, all is not lost yet, for with this bill in hand, you will receive the coin you have invested here, with interest. As you can see, this track leader has a significant influx of both great and small, though not because of the track, but only because of his money management. Therefore, he is bursting with gold, silver, and all manner of precious stones. He does not concern himself with the tent in the least, for his business is all about money. As such, neither are those who travel upon his trek truly concerned whether or not they will reach the tent, for they indeed carry the exchange in their hand. Look even further now. There lie even more, even less trodden tracks. Their track leaders are tolerated by the head track leaders only to a certain point, which is why they sit quietly at their tracks. If a pilgrim comes along one or the other track, then well and good. Yet should no one come, they will not lose sleep over it. In a certain sense, they are not dependent on the yield of the track, but they provide for themselves by means of various stalls erected at their tracks. If they are surreptitiously asked by someone, "Is your track the correct one?" they would answer indifferently, "If this is not the correct one, which one would be?" See, in this way is the cyclic track terrain populated by all manner of track leaders. The great, the screaming, the moping, the silent, and the secretive. Apart from a single track, namely the most narrow, you will find wanderers and seekers all over. But because all the tracks are fenced off at the end, all these travelers end up on the outside of the tent. Nobody reaches the entrance. For as many as you see rushing there, just as many will find disappointment along the steep wall, turning around and again seeking freedom, for all their effort was in vain. All crowd around the track leader who is giving out jingling coins. And look, even other track leaders clandestinely send over their assistants with bags of silver and gold to make out bills with them. Yet nobody turns to the poor track leader resting at the entrance of the most narrow track. He, therefore, has little to do, and would someone go to him, he will be mocked, or be held back forcefully by the other track leaders. But have another good look. See how they have set up a considerable multitude of able spies on the wall, whose eyes follow the narrow, untreaded track. A few amongst them say, "Look, that track truly leads to the entrance. But if all other tracks around here only lead to the wall, who knows if this narrow track does not actually lead to the entrance?" Behold, many walk around the wall already, following the track with their eyes. The track leaders do not realize the meaning of this wandering. But woe unto them all, if these fortunate spies would discover the true direction of this narrow track. They would not fare well then, for they will be held accountable. All the tracks will be destroyed and made equal to the narrow track. And the inconspicuous track leader will bring all unto him. Be not surprised should you hear laughter atop the ring wall, especially directed at the track leaders who scream the loudest. There is a good reason for this laughter. You can be sure to believe it. All the major tracks must be bombarded with mocking laughter. All their doctrines and great promises need be brought to shame when the true track is found. You may believe what this spiritual imagery teaches you, for such is reality. Already there are many keen-eyed spies on the wall, and they have only investigated half of all the tracks yet. Another few glances and steps, and you will see that the narrow path will be frequently trodden upon. Those who travel upon it will arrive without fail at the entrance to the tent and enter in. They will receive the great treasure and present it to all the guests. Once this happens, all the other tracks will be over and done with. The guests will descend upon them, tearing down the fences, and will finally arrive at the entrance to the tent from all around. It need scarcely be specified that the first track denotes the hierarchy, the second one the Greek church, the third one the Protestant church, the fourth one the English church, and that the other smaller tracks represent other, less significant sects and denominations. Knowing this, you will come to know what this image signifies. Once you consider it properly, then will that which you have seen in the sphere of the sixth spirit become even clearer. Next time, the fourth image. And with that, enough for today.